Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the real story behind the entire AI boom. While everyone's distracted by the big names and flashy chips, we're going to show you where the actual power is. And believe me, it has been hiding in plain sight this whole time. Right now, if you follow this space, you know the entire market is just completely fixated on the GPU wars. It's all you hear about, right? NVIDIA versus AMD, Google's new custom chip, Amazon silicone. It's a fantastic narrative for sure. But what if it's the wrong one? Because, there's another part of the puzzle, a component that's way more critical than most people realize. And its scarcity, well, it's quietly shaping the entire future of artificial intelligence. So let's just roll with that idea for a minute. What if memory isn't just a sidekick in this story? We're about to peel back all the layers of the AI hardware supply chain, and I think you'll see why memory might just be the main character of this whole revolution. Okay, let's dive right in. Think about it this way. A GPU, no matter how ridiculously powerful it is really just an engine. A super, super fast engine, yeah? But what good is an engine if you can't get fuel to it fast enough? And for AI models, that fuel is data. And the fuel line? Well, that's memory. So every single large language model, every generative AI you've ever heard of, it slams headfirst into the exact same physical problem. It's a concept called the memory wall. You can have all the processing power on the planet, but if your chips are just sitting there waiting for data to arrive, you're not getting any work done. And AI's thirst for data is, and I mean this, absolutely insatiable. To really get a sense of just how big this problem is, check this out. An NVIDIA H100. That's the chip powering pretty much the whole AI boom. It can get data about 65 times faster than a really high-end desktop PC. That incredible difference is only possible because of one single technology, high bandwidth memory, or HBM. So how does HBM actually work? Well, it goes vertical. Instead of the memory chips sitting next to the processor like they usually do, they're stacked right on top. They're connected by these microscopic vertical superhighways for data. They're called through-silicon vias. This 3D stacking is the secret sauce. But as you can probably guess, making it creates a whole new world of problems. Because, as it turns out, the supply chain for this incredible memory is unbelievably fragile. We're not just talking about one bottleneck. Oh no, it's a series of choke points, one after the other, where just a handful of companies control everything. So here's how this whole thing stacks up. First, there's the memory itself. SK Hynix, one of the main makers, has already sold out its entire supply through 2026. Done. Second, you have to package it. TSMC is basically the only game in town for that, and yep, they're completely sold out too. And third, the super specialized machines and materials you need to even make this stuff, you guessed it, also sold out. And these aren't just related problems, they're three separate, independent walls that the industry is hitting all at the same time. This whole situation creates a pretty fascinating power dynamic. So, who are these gatekeepers? Let's start peeling back the layers and find the companies that are quietly running the whole show from behind the curtain. All right, so at the top layer, you've got the three memory makers. These are the names you've probably heard of. SK Hynix is the absolute king of the hill, with a huge market share, mainly because they have an exclusive deal to supply NVIDIA. Then you've got Samsung and Micron, who are hustling to catch up, working with AMD and some of the other big cloud players. But here's where it gets really interesting. To understand the true choke points, we've got to go deeper. We have to ask the question, who's providing the essential tools and materials that even giants like SK Hynix and Samsung can't make for themselves? So let's look at the equipment layer. Remember that vertical stacking I was talking about? Well, it's done by this incredibly specialized machine called a thermal compression bonder. And for years, one company on this list, Hanmi, basically owned the entire market. They had it locked up. Now you're seeing a couple of challengers pop up, creating this really intense battle to supply the machines that build the memory. But if we look just a little bit into the future at the next generation of HBM, the situation gets even more nuts. Competition, it just vanishes. One single company is going to have absolute, total control over a process that everybody needs. And here it is. This is the crucial point. The future of stacking all this memory is a technology called hybrid bonding. And the equipment you need to do it, it's made by exactly one company on Earth, Applied Materials. They have a 100% monopoly. So if you want to build the next generation of AI chips, you have no choice. You have to go through them. And that brings us to the deepest and maybe the most powerful layer of control, the raw materials. I mean, before you can even dream of building a chip, you need these fundamental things. And a few Japanese companies have had a stranglehold on them for decades. We're talking about everything from the silicon wafers themselves to the hyper-advanced chemicals you need to etch the designs on them. Just take a look at EUV photoresist. It's this chemical that is absolutely non-negotiable for making cutting-edge chips, and Japanese suppliers control something like 95% of the entire global market. That's not a competitive advantage, that's just total dominance. It makes these companies the silent overlords of the entire semiconductor industry. So, what happens when you put all of these different pieces together? Well, you get a completely new map of power in the AI world. It's not just about who can design the fastest GPU anymore, it's about who controls the flow at every single one of these critical choke points. So here it is. This is the secret map of the AI revolution. You've got memory production, dominated by SK Hynix, advanced packaging, which is a TSMC monopoly, and then you go deeper, all the way down to the materials, where Applied Materials and a handful of Japanese firms hold all the cards. This, right here, is where the real power lies. And the cool thing is, now you know exactly what to look for. Keep an eye on the production numbers for new memory, watch the market share battle for those bonder machines, and definitely pay attention to the order books over at Applied Materials. These are the signals that are going to tell you where the industry is really heading, long before it ever makes the headlines. So ultimately, this all leaves us with a really provocative thought from our source material today. What if this whole GPU race is just performance art, a distraction? What if the real story, the one that is actually going to define the future of AI,